then I don't remember if he asked me if there was anything I wanted to ask him or if I just blurted it out. But I do remember that it was just like the enormity of the implication of what I was doing. It was beginning to dawn on me. And I just blurted out, Srila Prabhupada, how am I going to remember you and surrender to you for the rest of my life? I figured, wow, how am I going to do this? And he was quiet for a second, but he actually liked that a lot. He liked that question. And he chuckled a little. And then he said, if you just chant your 16 rounds a day and follow the 4 principles, you'll remember me and you'll surrender to me. And then he paused for a moment, and then he laughed again, and he said, don't forget to feed me. So I was, later on, in later years, I was thinking, Prabhupada's so kind because he knows what a simpleton I am. I'm so simple that this is all I have to do. And he's telling me, I'll go back home to Godhead, because if you remember Prabhupada and surrender to him, wherever he goes, you're going to go. And he's definitely in the spiritual world. So that's my task, is to try and do that properly. And I've been told also that he meant by don't forget to feed me, distribute his books, preach. But I think he meant don't forget to offer food to him so I don't take anything that isn't prasadam. I remember one time in Mayapur, I was helping Daiva Shakti make the fruit for Srila Prabhupada in the morning, and Shrudakirti was his servant, and he said, Srila Prabhupada said that you should taste the watermelon before you put it on the plate to make sure it's okay. And so, he told us that, and I thought, I can't taste the watermelon before I put it on Srila Prabhupada's plate. I just can't. I'll just get the one that looks the best and put it on his plate. And of course, it was no good. And the next day I heard, this, you didn't taste the watermelon and it was no good, and Srila Prabhupada was very displeased. So he does reciprocate. My realization about Srila Prabhupada is that he reciprocates through others. That's the way he's done it for me, because I've never had the association that other older devotees have had. But somehow or another, his mercy is always there. And another time in Dallas, he was visiting the Dallas Gurukula. This was, I'm definitely a demon. I just have this demoniac heart. And we had this kirtan in Dallas, and Prabhupada was there, Vishnu Janand Swami was there, Jayatirtha was there, a lot of big devotees were there. And it was one of the most ecstatic kirtans I've ever experienced. Everybody was 5 feet off the ground. Jayatirtha was flying in the air, twirling on the way down, and Prabhupada was, and there were waves of devotees were just running back and forth. And Srila Prabhupada was, he was always in ecstasy, but you could see there was this great feeling permeating the entire Dallas room. And I had this demoniac thought, the mind is just amazing, and I thought, everybody loves Prabhupada, everybody's worshiping Prabhupada. I want to see if he's really transcendental. So it was palpable, the affection and love and the honor that everybody was giving to Srila Prabhupada. So I thought, I want to see what he does. So after the kirtan was over and everybody was paying obeisances, I stood up or sat up and just looked at him. I wanted to see what expression was on his face. Was he like gloating because everybody was worshiping him, or I wanted to see what kind of expression he had. And he was glancing over to that side of the room, and he glanced over and he saw me, and for a fraction of a second it was just like disbelief or shock that I could be so gross and fallen, I guess. And then it was like that. He immediately was just totally transcendental and not bothered by it. And I could just see that he was embarrassed for me and that he was totally transcendental. It was such a great lesson for my stone heart to see that he was totally in control all the time, humble servant of Krishna. And on a morning walk with him, when Koshaya and Madhavananda, they were the temple, he was the temple president in Detroit, and I was there with them. And then there were some problems, or Prabhupada wanted Govardhan to be president there again. So we went to New York, and I joined them in New York. And we went on a morning walk with Prabhupada. And of course, as women, we weren't able to walk up close to Prabhupada. But I remember on this one morning walk, I just thought this was so wonderful. We were walking on the pavement, and Prabhupada stopped, everybody stopped, and looked down at the crack on the pavement and said, "Look at this plant. The living entity is so powerful that it's pushing through the cement." He was just making an example of how the Atma is so strong that it can actually crack through the cement.
They couldn't.
And another time we were in Hyderabad, at the Hyderabad farm, and we got left behind. All the devotees went on ahead, and Palika, and I think Ashaya was there. We went swimming, and we got left behind, and Prabhupada was just so relaxed. There's pictures of him there at the farm. He's leaning up against the tree, and he was just so happy, and he was asking us, did we have enough prasadam? Did we have enough saris? Were we comfortable? Was everything okay? How come we were there? And so we had to say that we got left behind, and he arranged specifically for a lorry truck to come and bring us back to Hyderabad. And he was just very caring and loving. And I guess there's other things that my memory could come up with, but I think that's what I can remember now.
The second letter that you wrote, I guess in Dallas, did you say, "I'm sorry for not paying obeisance," or was that part of that?
No, in Dallas I wrote to him because at that time there had been introduced the whole concept in Sankirtan, which really was full bloom a few years later, and there was a big heavy pressure for women to be chaste, humble, shy, and submissive. And then at the same time, boom, at 9 o'clock, out the door you went, and the Sankirtan quote-unquote leader had you in pants, you know, standing on an island in the middle of a highway. And I said to Srila Prabhupada, you know, I want to be chaste, shy, and submissive, but this is what we're doing during the day. By the way, do you know this? You know. And he wrote back that letter, which I've seen quoted now several times. I wrote it on behalf of myself, and there was our Sankirtan party. There was about 10 women, and this was bothering us. And he wrote back a wonderful letter, and the gist of the letter was, aggression for the cause of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will purify you of all your desires for sense gratification, which I didn't think I was asking about my desire for sense gratification, but obviously that's what he was telling us, to just go on being aggressive, that aggression for the cause of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's preaching is purifying. And that was really what we were all just trying to get purified. You know, we were just thinking we were the victims, but actually we were all just in the process of purification.